King Charles faced with worrying Prince Harry problem amid royal housing conflict. The palace is currently looking into options for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's future accommodation, after it came to light that Harry had no place to stay during his brief trip to the UK a few weeks ago. Last weekend it was revealed that Charles' youngest son asked to stay at one of the royal homes while in London for the Well Child Awards on September 7 but was denied, and subsequently turned down an offer to stay with his father at Balmoral on the anniversary of the Queen's death. Prince Harry's staff reportedly contacted Buckingham Palace a while ago and expressed that he'd love to see his father during his stay. However, he was told by royal aides that he needed to file a formal request. It's not known whether the king knew about the correspondence. The Duke of Sussex was then invited by King Charles and Queen Camilla to join them at Balmoral. However, Harry cited a busy schedule as the reason he rejected the offer, opting to stay in a hotel for the night instead. The state of affairs between the royals and the Sussexes isn't just an awkward situation for all involved. The UK's Sunday Times revealed that the king's decision to keep his son on as a Councillor of State when the late Queen Elizabeth died has complicated things even more. In this role, Prince Harry, who is one of 7 members of the royal family, who is in a position to deputize for King Charles in the event that he is overseas or sick, is required by law to have a base in the UK. King Charles made headlines earlier this year when he evicted Harry and his wife Meghan Markle from their Windsor home, Frogmore Cottage, following the release of the bombshell docuseries and Harry's autobiography Spare. We are really in uncharted waters here. The Prince Harry situation is not something the law easily allows for, constitutional law expert Dr. Craig Prescott shared with the Times. The idea of the second son of the king choosing a life away from royal duties is not something the law has thought about, and I can imagine that Buckingham Palace would be concerned by that. The king had the chance to remove him with the Councillor of State legislation last year, but chose not to. It was reported on Sunday that palace aides are tossing up the possibility of the Sussexes leasing rooms at Kensington Palace during any trips to the UK in the future. The king can see that to remove Harry as a Councillor of State would be seen as an act of antagonism, and he does not want to do that, a palace insider told the Times. If, as a consequence of that, somewhere on the royal estate needs to be earmarked as a pied-à-terre for his son, that seems a reasonable thing to do. However, Buckingham Palace denied the rumor, informing the publication. These claims are not true. Insiders have suggested that it is more likely that the Montecito-based royals will be offered temporary use of royal properties on an ad hoc basis, but only with formal warning made in advance. Early next year, the Duke of Sussex is expected to make his next trip back to Britain, when his claim against News Group newspapers on account of alleged unlawful information gathering is set to be heard in court. The latest news on the royal conundrum comes after King Charles surprised people in November when, instead of removing non-working royals such as Prince Andrew and Prince Harry as Councillor of State, adding his sister, Princess Anne, and his youngest brother, Prince Edward. The Councillor of State position is usually given to the monarch's partner, followed by the first 4 people in the line of succession over the age of 21. It has been speculated that Charles' decision to keep Harry and Andrew in the loop was an attempt to avoid making tensions even worse for the family. It has been reported that King Charles has had minimal contact with Harry over the last few months, and the father-son duo haven't been in the same room together since the king's coronation. Prince Harry allegedly asked to stay at one of the royal residences prior to the Invictus Games. However, he was told by a senior aide that none of the London or Windsor-based homes were free, seeing as though most of the staff were in Scotland with Charles and Camilla, reports The Sun. The Duke of Sussex was seen leaving St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, the final resting place of his grandmother Queen Elizabeth, on the anniversary of her death. 800 kilometers away, Charles and Camilla held a private reflection at the small Crathie Kirk Church in Scotland on September 8.